Welcome back to another episode of Season 5 of the RAG podcast. As you guys know by now, this is the #1 podcast across the recruitment sector globally. And we've always been on a mission to help recruitment agencies grow by interviewing founders and telling their stories of success from startup all the way to scale up and exit. Well, this season we're a little bit different. How do you, as a recruitment leader and founder, maintain your family and friendships whilst being the best person at work? How do you stay physically fit mentally and emotionally? And how do you find time for yourself in the madness? How do you find time for self-interest, for hobbies, and self-improvement? Well, to help you with this, I'm going to be interviewing someone every single week that can demonstrate experience in one or more of these areas. So I'm going to talk to recruitment founders and also some experts from outside the industry who can deep dive into things like relationships and health and well-being. So sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy today's show. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the RAG podcast. Today's episode, I'm joined by a couple of guys I've known for a while. One of them, Lawrence, I met 5 years ago on a course when I first started Hoxo. So it's Lawrence Rose and Elliot Payne, and they are the founders of a brand called Arto. Arto launched a month before the pandemic. They specialize in life sciences into Europe and the USA, and they started off in a ridiculously difficult position. Two guys that were working Phaidon International, big salaries, big shares, took a risk. And then 4 weeks into that risk, the pandemic hit, which was mad. Now they are 23 people. Their business is flying. The profit they're making is amazing. The business, I've been down to see the office. The team's wicked. They're building their brands. They've got a mix of old and new technology and school thinking. And they are definitely one to watch. These boys have been best mates since they were 3 years old. Their parents are best friends. They've never spent more than a couple of days apart since they were 3 years old, which is mad. So you can tell in this episode, I recorded it earlier today, there's chemistry in this episode. You can tell with the two of them, they are really our best mates. It's great to see. So if anyone says don't get into business with friends, then ignore them, because these two prove that it can be done. So without further ado, Lawrence and Elliot, welcome to the Brag Podcast.
Sean.
Hey, Sean.
You good?
How's it going?
I feel like this one's been coming for a while. When did I first ask you to come on here, Lawrence? At least a year ago.
Yeah, it was, yeah. I was at the train station on the way to London with Elliot.
Yeah, and you bottled it, didn't you? No, I think what you said was, give me enough time to be worthy of the show. Like, nah, that's not true. Well, guys, thank you so much for making the time today. I always enjoy spending time with you boys. So I've done a brief intro. I'm going to ask Elliot, how would you describe who Arto is today and just give us an overview of who Arto is right now.
So Arto, with 23 people, 18 of those sales staff, not including Lawrence and I. We mid to executive level niche specialists in the life science industry, focusing on 3 areas: medical affairs, clinical development, and pharmacovigilance. Whilst we're working extremely hard with the people based in Kent, we're just trying to have some fun along the way. So far so good. It's been a great journey.
Yeah. And Lawrence, when did you start the business again? Remind me.
April 2020. I think it was 4 weeks after before lockdown or something.
Oh, fucking hell. I remember you rang me up and I was like, mate, I don't have the answers. You were like, Sean, surely you've got some advice. I said, I don't think I do at this point.
Crack on, mate.
2 weeks, start up a business. You've got like pens, pencils, the logo on it. And my uncle does signs. He put it on our wall. And then 2 weeks later, new office, we've got to go home. Lockdown.
Yeah. Right, so it must have been March then. It was like 1st of March.
March.
Yeah, that was so
yeah. So you were literally exactly 3 years after us. We started March 17. So let's go back. Firstly, like the story of how we met. So I finished with my business. Well, I finished in recruitment in 2016. And then I remember reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, the book. And it's it's about investing in property and assets and liabilities. And me and Amma we went straight to this property convention with Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then at the end of the day, they sell you this course. No, they sell you like a 3-day event or something. So I remember rocking up to the event. I think Amo wasn't there on one day. It was just me because I think he had to work or something. So Hoxo was really new. I think we'd only been going a few months.
When just started.
It just started, yeah. And I turned up to this event, and you were sat in front or behind me. I don't think Elliot was there. It was just me and you. And then
no, it was me. I was with another guy.
We just got chatting. I think we were laughing at some idiot American or something who was saying something. And then we were like, "What do you do in recruitment?" And then that was it. That was like 5 years ago.
The friendship blossomed from there.
I know, mate. I know. And you were in a very similar market then to what I did before, right?
Yeah, I did business change in the insurance industry, but in Germany. Yeah. So basically the same, to be honest, just different.
Yeah, and I did it in London. So that was we've kept in touch ever since, which has been awesome. And it has been brilliant to see what you guys have done. So let's go back a bit further. How do you guys know each other? Because I believe there's a bit of a story there. There's some history, shall we say?
Yeah. Well, we were just literally talking the other day because Lawrence went on a stag do, and I think in 2 days it was like the longest we haven't seen each other for like 2 years. So I miss you. We've been best mates since about 3 years old. So our mums and dads are close friends. Just growing up together. So same secondary school, similar university, went to university, and then we're both surveyors by trade. And then Lawrence went into recruitment. 8 months later, I went up to London to see my mate, and he just showed me around, and I just fell in love with the whole concept.
So what uni did you both go?
I was Greenwich.
Right, so in London, right?
Yeah.
And we did the whole part-time vocational thing, when you work and get a degree in the background.
Right.
To do your coursework at the weekends and stuff like that. And the reason we actually got into recruitment is because I just finished my 5-year course, and then I was around a friend's house, and his cousin turned up in like a Ferrari. He's about 28, a bright red, luminous Ferrari with cream leather. And I said, "Nice to meet you. I'm Lawrence. So what do you do?" And he was like, "I'm in recruitment." And all I thought about was job centre. And he was like, No, I do recruitment. And then that kind of planted a seed.
So this was basically the Wolf of Wall Street when like Donnie goes like,
yeah, exactly.
You made $70,000 in a month. Okay, I quit my job. You told me I work for you. Like basically one of them.
And I interviewed with him like the next week, and then he offered me a job, and I ended up choosing a different company in London. So then
you turned him down.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Shit.
I remember I had to tell my work that I was doing a day on site or something, and then I lined up like a spreadsheet full of like 15 interviews, and I basically went from like one to the other. It was like, and everyone was trying to keep you late and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, the old tactic. Yeah.
Yeah, and I ended up choosing Phaidon basically.
Who were the people who interviewed you then? Can you remember?
Coopsy, Claire. You know Claire.
Claire Cooper. Yeah. She's been on the show twice.
Yeah.
Why did you choose Claire? Can you remember?
Well, I chose the contracts business, a lady called Dawn Hampton, who was like an ex-S3 contracts like leader, and she just started the contracts business at Phaidon. And I knew that this other guy had so much money from contracts. So I thought, great company, small contracts business. Let's get into the growing part and do something special with someone that seemed
really good. How old were you then?
23.
Yeah, at that age, I didn't think like growing, get into that early. Like it was just I remember just taking the fucking job I got offered. Basically, when I got into it, I was in Australia, so it was like I was ringing firms, and they were like, "You sound great, but you're not on a visa. Like, I'm not going to sponsor you." So when Randstad gave me an option, I didn't fucking bat an eyelid. I was like, "Yeah, I'll take it." Didn't care where it was. But that sounds cool. So why did you both get into surveying, and how did that? Did you both like it? Like, was it just coincidence, or did one of you convince the other one, or how did that happen?
Well, that feeds really into the mantra of the company, but we had to there's not many jobs outside of the big cities, right, that pay 6 figures or good salaries, etc. So it was just another one of the kind of traditional career paths that you can go on outside of the major cities. So then we were kind of, when you're in a job and you're thinking, I can get to 50, 60 grand, I can have a really normal life, this is okay, this is good, I should be happy, but I'm not that happy. And then you'd always kind of watch those cheesy films and think, I need to be there, I need to be wearing a nice suit, the old school kind of way. I want to earn loads of money, have a good career. And recruitment just seemed like the perfect way to do that, to be honest.
When you met
and then
that guy.
it kind of popped up.
Yeah. And then, Elliot, do you think you boys, did you talk a lot about your career and money and aspiration as kids?
Yeah, massively. It's always been our dream to set up something together with whatever it would have been. And there's actually our French teacher, who's our friend at school. His mum was a teacher, and we're in the dining hall actually, and she came up to us and just was like, "Have you guys thought about surveying?" Like sixth form, and we were like, "No." He said, "Well, a friend of mine owns a surveying company, and he's got 3 applications. Like he's looking for junior surveyors." So Lawrence, he took that job, and then I spoke to my dad, and he was like, "You won't like quantity surveying. It's a bit too analytical, so you should look at building surveying." And both our parents, or dads especially, are quite old school, so it's like you have to go to university. And then I went down the building surveying route, Lawrence down the quantity surveying route, and then I ended up in demolition, being a bit of pyromaniac, like fireworks, etc. I wanted to get into become an explosives expert. It's only about 4 in the country, I found out, and they got good money. So I was gonna just about to start a course in that, and that's when I went up to London and then had my interview and just left and joined Phaidon.
Elliot just saw the leaderboard and was like, "Yeah, let's go for it."
Really?
I said, "What are you second because you're alphabetical? Just write names." Went, no, I'm second because I'm second. So if I do more deals, I go first. I was like, "I'm in."
So you were. So was there always a natural competition between the two of you growing up?
Yeah, 100%.
Yes, I mean, yeah.
In what, like everything, like
Healthy.
sport.
Football, he's a lot. Elliot's one of these people that if there's a ball and like hand-eye coordination, he's very good at it.
Yeah.
And I was always that guy that would work really hard, and like I'd get there eventually. It's like the new FIFA would come out, and he'd beat me instantly, and I'd be like, and I'd be immensely obsessed for like a week, and then I beat him, and I'd like literally go and celebrate.
I think like one year, like FIFA 18, I was around Lawrence's house like pretty much every night, and then we had a book, and one day we're like, right, £100 in. I think I'm about 17 at the time. £100 in. First to 50, and we had this little tally chart. Every time we fall out of this one, we get the book out, tally it.
Who won it?
Oh.
Yeah. It varied depending on the FIFA.
So, I can already sense what you boys are like back then. Like, you're not changed at all.
It doesn't stop.
No.
It doesn't.
So tell us about Phaidon then, and how did your careers go at Phaidon? Because I know you did well, but what was it? Was it again? Was there a competition in your trajectory there? Did you support each other?
No, not so much. Elliot. So basically, Elliot was. So we both started in different brands within contracts. So it was a brand new contracts business in an established high growth recruitment business.
Yeah.
Elliot started initially on the EPM scientific pharmaceutical side, on the contract side. He worked his way up to the top and ended up leading that division across Europe. I started in oil and gas in the Laken Group, which is within Phaidon, and then basically became like the top billing consultant, led the team there. And then I don't know if you remember, but the oil and gas industry just went off an absolute cliff after about 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
And I had my first child on the way, and I was like, right, I kind of just want to go and bill loads of money for a period of time because I've never really had a chance to do that. So and then that's how I moved into business change. Started that off and just built a small team out whilst being very hands-on. So I was more of a hands-on biller with a small team. Elliot ended up with like 30. How many was it? Elliot? 36 people across 2 offices.
Something like, yeah, Switzerland, Germany, UK. So I loved it. Then, honestly, I thought it was. I loved it every day. Just like we commuted from Broadstairs, so 2 hours there and 2 hours back every day. We lived in London for the first couple of years. So 5-6 years we commuted.
We lived together in London
for a bit, yeah.
Then
where were you based?
Started in Bow. My wife, she's pretty good at finding nice places. We had a nice little apartment in Bow. We lived there for about 8 months, and then where Lawrence's wife now didn't live in London at the time. Obviously, he was like living like sort of in just working all the hours under the sun. So after a while, my wife couldn't handle it anymore. That we'll be sitting down for dinner. Lawrence comes in at 8, like, and he crashes. He's like, right, this is my day. This is what I've been doing. And Charlotte's like, my wife.
I'm sick of this shit.
Yeah, we moved out, and then
they kicked me out.
Yeah. And then so we moved to a place in Stockwell, and Lawrence like 2 months later, Lawrence went back home and said, "Oh, we found a place, literally about 10 houses down the road." I was like, "Mate, I just want to be on my own for a little bit, please."
Where was this? What, in Stockwell or down in Margate?
In Stockwell, then, yeah.
Stockwell. So why did you go home though? Why leave London? Why don't you stay in the
But basically, the reason why I left London back home is one of my best friends died.
Oh no, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so it was just like a big group of friends. First one, he was only 30, like, and it just hit. It just it just hit us massively. Like I still played football, so I was like getting the train down, seeing the boys every Saturday. And then me and Charlotte, we just literally sat in our flat and was like, do we want to be up here anymore? Like, you know, life's too short. It's friends and family more important than anything. So we just regrouped and just moved back home, lived at her mum and dad's for a little while, saved for a house, and then we got a house a couple of months later. But yeah, that was the big reason for us why we moved down.
What about you? Did you just miss him, Lawrence? Is that why you moved? You just couldn't.
No, my missus, we did try and move to London, but my missus is a primary school teacher, and then she went from teaching in some like Ofsted outstanding country school to London. You don't necessarily get put in the best schools, so I think she very quickly wasn't that. She didn't really enjoy it that much, to put it politely. So then we ended up that kind of forced our hand really, and then we kind of built a life out back where we were from originally. So you two, and then we had a kid on the way, all that kind of stuff. So it makes sense, right? And
then you two literally jumped on a train to London. What time were you leaving and getting in and stuff?
5:40 train AM, and we'd get back about like 8, 9.
And we do it together every day, pretty much.
Yeah, on the train, 5 feet away, for about 15 hours a day. It's quite funny, really.
And then on the way home, this is how competitive we are. I thought the Northern line was quicker than the Central line to get, and then Lawrence was like, no, it's definitely quicker. So we then raced each other to see which was quicker. Lawrence won that one, and the Central line was quicker. Yeah. And so then, because we had to go through, Westfield.
Yeah.
Also to get the train there.
It's like Jason Robinson. So
we had to. I can't believe it. If we didn't leave at 6 on the dot to get like the earliest train, which was about 6:32 or something. When we got the tube, we were running in and out of people, like dodging, like busy just to get the train. And if you missed it, it's another half an hour we got to wait.
Yeah.
So we just sit and chat, but yeah, it was.
How did
funny.
Phaidon cope with you boys not like leaving at 6 on the dot? Was that acceptable?
We were there. Well, we'd worked. I suppose we'd done our time because we'd worked to we were probably the last in the office for like 5 years.
Yeah.
So I think we kind of had a bit of a blank card. But outside with newbies, it would have been strange. I think we were the only ones. We were known as the Margate boys because everyone else thought we were mad, right? Like,
yeah.
And did you? Adam Butt would be like, "What you doing?"
Were you both running teams at that point? Were you leaders rather than single billers, or?
Yeah,
leaders.
Yeah. So when did you know you were going to start? Let's go back to that point now. When did it become apparent that you knew you were always going to do it? But when was it like, right, we're ready?
The trigger.
Yeah.
The trigger was.
Sorry.
It was when it was my 30th birthday with Elliot.
Yeah. Up in London, and then it was maybe the only times Lawrence had to see children that me, Charlotte, my wife, Kylie, Lawrence's wife, and Lawrence were in the same place together without any distractions. So we drove home from London from his 30th, and Phaidon just had their first sort of big investment, and we just sat down and said, look, we want to do this. We want to set up our own business. We're not seeing you much. Lawrence isn't seeing Arthur much. Because there wasn't any flexibility at the time. There was no really working from home at Phaidon.
Yeah.
And that's what we were sort of asking for, really. And they were like, go for it. Like, you go for it. So that's when we were just like, okay, we'll go from there. And then,
what money were you both earning at that point?
A lot. Like, I'd say, I just built, I think, 600-700K. So it was
you probably earning 200, 250 or something. You're earning good money. Was that hard to walk away from? Did you? And
we were shareholders because we were fortunate. So we loved our time at Phaidon, right? It was one of the best companies to join at the time. So we both were happy and fortunate enough to be in a company that valued us, and we really enjoyed it there and enjoyed our time. And there's our platform for success, really. And then we were given the opportunity as part of a number of the middle management or upper management team to get shares in the business at a very early stage.
Yeah.
And we were with Phaidon, and then when it went through 2 or 3 events, financial events or various sales of various parts, etc. And then, so it was a big pull because some of our friends that we built there are still like some of our closest friends now, and we were kind of, the contracts business was built around like 3 or 4 people really.
And you had, obviously there's an incentive to stay because you've got more exits and more investment. Yeah.
But then I think time was just the big thing for us. I wanted to start a family. Lawrence had a little Arthur, had I think Oliver on the way, and we just were like, let's just do it. So then we spent the summer. I think I've still got the WhatsApp group of the names that of what we could call it.
It's 2019, is it?
Yeah. And the names, some of the names, which I'm sure you'd have done when you set up Hoxton and thought of. Yeah. We nearly went with chalk white, and we quite liked it because obviously we live like on the coast. And that was the front runner. And then one of my friends was like, you realise that chalk is a porous rock which crumbles under pressure. So we're like, okay.
I don't think any client's ever going to go, we can't work with that. We can't work with that business. Do you know why? Because of that. So where did Arto come from?
So in my weird head, basically Lawrence's first two boys are Arthur and Oliver. Right. So I just put them together and texted him on one of the days and just said, what about Arto? And it's 4 letters, catchy. Lawrence loved it, right? So named after his 2 boys, which are like my godson. So, and it just stuck from there. Like so since then I've had a boy called Theodore. He's taken the T now. So
Theodore.
Yeah. If I have a next boy, it's called Raphael, I think, just to get the R, and then it's all our boys then.
To be fair, that makes sense, doesn't it? I like that.
Yeah, but that's where it came from. Yeah.
Yeah, that's class. So you're getting the name, you're getting everything. Obviously, you've got to manage your exit because you're in a big organization with shares. It's not easy to go. I'm sure. Did you ever question? Did any of you have a wobble where you're like, I'm walking away from like such a safe, secure, big salary investment shares? Did any of you like ever personally think, am I doing the right thing?
I'd say that honestly, no, because I think whenever those feelings started to manifest, I didn't see without the sub story, my son was like probably 3 with my first son when we left. So I hadn't seen him Monday to Friday for like 2-3 years. My second son was born. I hadn't seen him for 1 year. And I think that was I was valuing that time with and supporting my wife as well. She was kind of on her own with all these kids. So I was like, right. And I think that would override the feeling of, is it the right thing? And also that innate hunger and desire to build something from scratch with my best mate kind of was so exciting. And we kind of saved up money and all that kind of stuff as well to kind of get us through the hard times. Elliot's probably a bit different because he was fully focused on leadership. I mean, how were you feeling, Alice?
Maybe one. Obviously, like doing really well in our team at Phaidon, and the guys like hitting our budget. Again, you build relationships with some of the guys. Like one of the lads that built the Swiss office, he's a godfather to my son. So, you do build really good connections. What's great about the industry. But yes, I think it's just doing it. It's weird, like being a bit cringe, I suppose. But I know since we're 3 years old, probably seen each other every single week, pretty much unless we're on holiday of our lives, growing up, everything. So just starting your best mate, it's just the adventure, and then hearing everything. I think the RAG was quite new at the time, so I think that's definitely something.
Well, I started it in 2019, didn't I? So you'd have
listening to it now, definitely a motivation, hearing it, and like we definitely took a lot from that.
Helped, yeah.
But, Lawrence did kill me though, because he said I was getting a bonus at the end of December, Christmas. So we're like, right, we're going to stay together. You're sticking strong until I have to leave to get my bonus.
January.
And he was like, that's like I'll stay with you. And then 2nd of December, he just comes to my desk and is like, do you know, Will, our boss, has been taking me for quite a lot of lunches. I was like, yeah. Well, he thought something was up, and he got it out of me, and I'm leaving. When?
I resign next week.
I'm leaving like next week. So what? So what do I do? Just sit here? He's like, well, yeah. So for like 3 weeks, I was like, Lawrence is an idiot, setting up on his own. Like, why would he do this? But at the same time,
they must have all been staring at you, going.
Oh, honestly, the eyes are everywhere. But at the same time, I just wanted to. I spoke to like the guys that were my managers underneath me. I was so passionate about leaving something behind. They've just continued to grow and grow and grow, which is like really big proud moment when you catch up with them and doing great. And that was a big thing for me to leave. I think to leave a business which is going to succeed after you is like great. But
when you did leave, they must have been like.
Horrible 3 weeks. Horrible. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We got all our best mates down for Christmas for a dinner, like the ones that we just told them, and I think a few of the boys teared up. Like, was with them so long.
Yeah.
They're happy for us. So.
Fair play. In terms, I can hear a bit of noise in the background, boys. Just so you know, I don't know if it's a door needs shutting or anything. It's all good. I just don't want anyone to burst in and like say something stupid on the show. So. It reminds me of Amma. I mean, I only met Amma when we were 18, and we didn't grow up together. But we've got like incredible similar background, and then we've been best mates ever since. We got the same experience with teachers. We went to Australia. Like it's a very similar story.
Yeah.
We had a third person, Anthony, who was on the show a couple of weeks ago, who was also included in the three of us planning, and then he pulled out just before Christmas when we were quitting it. We were quitting end of January because we had a bonus, very similar, but we did it on the same day. But it's weird with Anthony when he pulled out. Even though I was a bit surprised and gutted, I was deep down. I was like, I never quite knew if he was going to do it. Whereas with Amma, the trust was just like you two.
Yeah.
If he'd have pulled out, I literally would have been like, I just can't. I wouldn't have. It would have blindsided me, but I knew he wouldn't. Like, someone so. And a lot of people say don't go into business with your mates, and I think that's probably true because I went into business then with a mate from school who joined me and Amma, and we did the marketing thing, and that didn't work. But I think when you've got a friendship that's lasted so long, and you've worked, the difference between you work together, and me and Amma worked together.
Yeah,
so it's not like your mates and then you brought some and you've never worked together. Like, you spent all day together. We used to go from London to work, go home, live in the same flat for years. Like we so it was similar. So let's go then to the point where you actually, you're doing this, you finished. It's March, it's 2020.
Yeah.
You headed after a new market. You went after life sciences into Europe, which is not something you did. What was your thought? I think you knew it was going to be a big booming market, right?
We did. Well, there were several challenges there because it wasn't just the market; it was also the fact that we did perm for the first time. Because we were both contracts leaders. We'd never done perm recruitment, despite being in a predominantly perm business. So we were like, right. But what we didn't want to do is try to train people on permanent recruitment when we didn't understand it ourselves. Because you know what it's like. There's nuances both in the type of recruitment, perm or contract, as well as the actual market itself and the territory, the geography. Plus, we did the UK market for the first time because we were under a number of non-competes and restrictions from our previous exit. Yeah. So that brought a whole new.
You started on the UK market.
We had to.
Well, I did the life sciences in Europe. We just sat down and said, "Also, we want to be good leavers, right?" So, and Phaidon gave us everything we could have asked for. Like we had children over there, we got married while there, it's all help. And so that's what we agreed. So it was a slog. Like rates are lower. Like the UK market, you have no contacts there. But we wanted to sit. We just stuck to our word. So
the first couple of weeks, you got an office, did you? Did you say you have an office and it was all?
I wouldn't call it an office. It's more of a
closet. Our friends had a spare room in his office. It's called the closet, and it just fit 2 desks in. That's all it had. And the funny part was there was a sliding door. And theirs is like they rent villas, and so there's a lot of incoming sales. But they have like a sales team, and on the first day we were like, right, get him sorted. Second day, let's get on the phone. So we were just hammering the phone, me and him, in this tiny little box, going for it. And then suddenly one of the lads come up and just got the sliding door, just like gave us a stare and was like, closed it, like as if we're like, what's going on? Then it got really hot, so we opened it again. Hour later, closed it again. So then we're like. At the end of the day, we're like, why do you keep closing the door? It's like, she's so loud. Like, we're trying to work here. So then we're like, right.
Sales.
Our number one KPI right now, before anything, is he's got to close our door 5 times a day. So that was it. Just open it and he closed it. Open it. Just got to keep making. So
but they hated you, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
I went to Ibiza in the pandemic, and I went on my own, and I paid for this co-working space with a mate of mine who owned it, and then get there. And he's like, yeah, sit there, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, within 5 minutes, I'm on the phone. And this guy goes, excuse me. I think he was German. He's like, excuse me. You need to stop talking so loud. I was like, excuse me, what? He goes, this place co-working is not talking. It's working. I was like, well, I'm not working because I speak on the phone. And I was really gobsmacked. And then my mate was like, mate, you got to go in a room for that. And I'm like, but he's got these little box rooms with a little shitty propeller fan that's tiny. And it's not got aircon. It's roasting. I'm like... So basically, any co-working space will prioritize people who type and don't speak. So I've been there, and I get pissed off. I get told off everywhere I go. Basically. Well loud. So what was it really like when you've got a desk phone and you don't know anyone? Like, you've been in recruitment a while. You've got, what the fuck was that like? Who were you even ringing? Like, what did you start with?
Well, Elliot and I actually recruit quite differently. Which I think is a good thing. So I've always been like long-term relationships, go for the bigger wins, take your time, be patient. I just could never motivate myself to go for the really short-term stuff. Whereas Elliot's always been, so I'd have like 5 clients, but they'd all be big clients. Elliot would have like 60 clients where he'd do like 1 or 2 deals.
Yeah.
So and this kills me to this day, Sean. Elliot did do the first deal in Arto's history. And it actually took me, and this is probably quite a good thing for people to know who do start their business. It took me 6 months to do my first deal. So we still did well in our first year, really well, but it was a slog, right? Because a lot of what I've always done is kind of flipping senior level candidates and things like that.
Yeah.
So seeing Elliot getting interviews consistently, and then me kind of like get things going, it was quite a strange feeling.
That must have hit your ego pretty hard.
Massive, yeah. I'm not really attached to my ego, but it was more like, you know, you start to have these questions like,
can I do this?
Hey, I can do recruitment, can't I? And I was like, Elliot's like, mate, of course you can. Don't be silly. So then, you know, and then all of a sudden it starts. Then you pop your first client, and the next one goes.
Elliot, did you ever question? Were you ever like, what have I done here? I'm carrying this guy. What the fuck's going on?
My back's hurting.
My back was interestingly, you'd think that I'd be like, you know, ribbing him for like first deal, but honestly, I think where you're just starting a business, you probably had the same with Emma. Like, you're in it together, and you're in it for the long term. So I just, as more of a reassurance, like, mate, you're #1 top biller of 700 people at Phaidon. Like, you're gonna be all right, and I know how you recruit. There's gonna be times when I might have a poor patch and might not do a couple of deals for a couple of weeks. But you'll come good. And since then, like, I think with a H1 review, I think my top client and his top client are pretty much neck and neck in terms of revenue in the business. So
wow, you know, mine did win, but it's okay.
He didn't want to. You gave him the grace. He didn't even give you the grace.
Yeah, no, that's not.
After this podcast, the relationship might be over, man.
We had to go back.
Let's go back to that period though. You get in this closet. 4 weeks later, the world shuts, or 2 weeks later. Like, what was that like? What went through your head? 'Cause I remember Lawrence ringing me, and you were a bit like, "What's going on here?" And I was like, "Mate, I ain't got a clue. I'm podcasting every day. I'm speaking to everyone I can. I'll let you know." And it was fucking madness. What was it like for you boys?
Oh, that was definitely the dark period, I'd say. Not because, I don't even think it was because of the recruitment. It was because of, you know, I'd recently moved into this house. I was in this office, which was totally undecorated, just full of the junk from the house. I bought this cheapest table you could. I barely, like a tower, an old school like computer. And then my kids were running in, going, "Daddy, play with me." My wife was like 6 months pregnant with our third child. She didn't have a job. There's no other income. And I'd be looking around like, you know, that was probably the only time then when I was like, actually, this is a lot. That was when Elliot, I think that's where the benefits of having someone that you're going into business with, because you just, as much as you hold each other accountable, there's just like that extra person to lean on and just bounce off and talk to, like you obviously have with Amma. So it just kind of, and that got me through that period, to be honest with you.
That's a lot though, mate. Like, that is a fucking lot. Kids, pregnant, no income. Like, that'd mess most people's heads up, I reckon. And in a new market. I mean, you literally had everything up against you. What was your mindset, Elliot?
I think one of my strengths is pretty resilient in terms of I don't really hold, like, we learned plan the hard way, because our first 2 offers were both dropouts for counter offers. So definitely something that we weren't experiencing in contracts. And obviously the first one was when Lawrence was working from home during that sort of dark period of his. So like, I remember him, and then I was like, "I've got some good news." And it's Oliver Arthur, like, sitting with him, and then he's like, "Come on then, Elliot." And I was like, "We've got an offer." And we're like, "Hey, the kids are dancing." 2 days later, Lowell, he's pulled out. He's taking a counter. And we were like, that can be in the income, you know. So, but I don't really, it's within minutes, it's gone. Like, I forget about it.
He's good like that.
I'm just so quick. I just like, okay, if this dropped out, I'll just work until, like, rather like future business leaders, it just depends how much you put into it. Like, it's the hardest we've ever worked. Like, I'd be lying saying that I reckon, on average, 3 days a week, we were sending each other weird videos at 3 a.m. in the morning, mapping out.
Headhunting on LinkedIn and stuff.
Or like, right, 1 o'clock. Are you ready to? I found a film on Sky. Ready? 3. Let's play together. And then we're watching this film like, but like, you know what I mean, just to keep ourselves up and working. Like, it just had to just grind it out. And then obviously, I think once we've got 1 or 2 clients, and suddenly we got candidates quite quickly, then they were like, "Oh my god, that's quick." Then they start giving us jobs, and then that's when
it's mad though, isn't it? Because if you look back at that time, most people,
I loved it.
I went for a run with two blokes the other day, and they were like, you know what? And we were really honest. They were like, we really, in a way, enjoyed that period because we got to spend the time with our families. We were on furlough, whatever. The weather was amazing, if you remember. It was just incredible.
Yeah.
Whereas I was like, I mean, we
You were like us, really.
we didn't furlough anyone. We let two go, and then I was living in a flat with my ex-wife, who we were basically breaking up. It was fucking shit.
Oh, that's awful.
And I'm like, this is not working. So I'm going daily with the podcast. I didn't have a single day off, even at the weekend. And then I didn't work till 3 a.m. or out, but I was Saturday, Sunday, and I'm building the academy in the background. So I was like, you know, coming up with ideas, and I'm in this little box room with my bed and all this stuff. And I remember it, and it was like everyone else was trying to enjoy that period of time and make the most of it. And, you know, I look back and think positively of it, but it was, like I say, it was one big graft throughout the whole thing. And but I think it paid off because by June, July, the momentum we'd built in the business was that there was none of this like start again mindset. We were just like, fucking, let's fly. And other businesses were just going back. And do you think that helps you guys? Yeah,
that helped. I'd say that helped our trajectory enormously because when everyone was kind of working at 50% because there was an excuse to subconsciously, I don't think they consciously would mean to, but if a client gave us a job, and even if it was like a C grade, slightly committed job with a new client, you know, the best way I could describe my mindset going into trying to fill that job when I was just purely billing is I was going to war. I was like, if there is a candidate that exists for this job in this candidate-driven sparse sector, I will find that person and I will make contact through them with some means. And until it's a no, it could be a yes. And that was the mindset I had, you know, and that was because I was purely exclusively focused on billing, you know, and we were each other's best supporters through that period.
Did you enjoy going back to the basics as well? Like, the job?
Oh, I don't know. I just gave me like a new lease of life again. Like, I think I was off the tools at Phaidon for about 3 years. And then just to go back, just ringing. I just like talking. That's why I joined the industry. One of the reasons I just like talking to people, as you can probably gather. So just to meet new people, talk to them. I quite like the UK market because we were in that massive Pfizer Discovery Park because we started and that's where we are now, just in an interim whilst we're sorting out our new office. So people knew where it was. We like met a few candidates, which we never really did in our company because the accessibility once COVID sort of died down a little bit, but it was just I loved it.
Did you manage to get business off the back of COVID, like in that sector? Did you manage to benefit from the work that came as a result of like pharmaceuticals and life sciences?
Yeah, I'd say it's probably the most, or one of the most recession-proof sectors. Naturally, if the population increases, it's going to attract investment. And where what we found was that a lot of venture capital company firms and things like that, where they didn't have anything to invest their cash into, you know, and credit's cheap at the moment, cash is cheap, they'd want to invest it into the pharmaceutical sector or the biotech sector, which led to an increase or a surge in demand in our areas. So actually, you know, several things came together there. Like we had the momentum of working and honing our craft in perm recruitment in our new niche. You had the fact that we had all this pressure and we were working so hard to kind of understand what best practice looked like in our market and territories and things. And then you had the kind of uptick from our sector being one of the first that got that. So we came out of that first 6 months, which was the dark period, that 3 to 6 month period, really just firing all cylinders. And we still did like 400 or 500K each in that year because we just came through it with just such momentum. It was like
because I remember when because we met before you started, or it was just as you were starting. I was in my office in London. Do you remember? We went for in Bethnal Green, and I think even then you said you wanted to grow a people business. You knew you wanted to. It wasn't going to be a lifestyle, just you two, but you were excited about a period of time living in Margate, not commuting, and just cracking on. So, how long did you see that plan before the growth trajectory of people? How long did you give yourself, like a year or a period of time where you're like, it's just me and you, let's just make it?
First year. The plan was build a war chest, just me and Lawrence. We won't hire. Let's just get as much money. Then we'll strategize and look to invest in certain things. And within 6 months, we've got our first person. And then anyway, long story short, we finished the first year with 10 people because the clients we had where we worked as nice, I went to war. And luckily, we got some good candidates that got placed. They then just kept on just offloading all these jobs with us. And obviously, when you first start, we weren't really they're all in the UK, but not really our niche, like something like here. And I think someone asked for like a data analyst. We turned that one down, but we just and then I think finishing with 10 people was a real eye opener. We did like our ASM as what a year we've had. It's not what we expected at all. So it's more forced our hand really, because we just couldn't. We tried to, we just couldn't manage all these jobs.
So that was March 2021, was it? End of year.
Yeah, basically, I'd say I know because we started March 21, but we rerouted our financial year to begin November to October because we wanted to think about it in the same way that we thought about our previous financial year.
Yeah, that's what we did. We did December, January as what's a bit more logical. Why is November? Is that just what?
That's purely what Phaidon was, and we wanted to make sure that there's one less thing to think about. So we'd always.
It's not even like that. Is not even in the quarter. Like, it's not even in line with quarters.
No.
Like, it's completely odd.
It is, yeah.
I'm interrupting today's episode to mention our sponsor. Talent Ticker are here to help everyone who are in such a candidate short market, right? So if you're looking to grow your recruitment business in 2022, you know candidates are important and Talent Ticker are here to help. What they do is they help recruiters work smart and not hard. They've got over 300 agency clients, recruitment agency businesses that use Talent Ticker, and that helps them connect to the right person at the right time for the right reason. Okay. It also automates a lot of monotonous tasks we use and provides simple tools to identify ideal and off-the-grid candidates, people that are under the radar for open roles. So if you like the sound of finding more deeper level talent that's not exclusively on LinkedIn, for example, then get over to www.get.talentticker.ai/Hoxo. You'll find the link in the episode and go and take advantage of the special offer they've got on there for our listeners.
Yeah,
so how did it work? So you start the year in November.
Yeah. So our first November, that's when everyone's on zero. Let's go.
And then you have 8 weeks till Christmas. So
yeah.
So right in the middle, the heart of Q1, it's all starting to slow down.
Yeah.
But
Christmas has always been good for us.
Typically, yes, but then saying that, we've got the advantage, which we've always seen at Phaidon, was that whilst everyone's coming to the end, they've got Christmas parties, everyone knows pretty much they're going to invoice. We're on our second month. We've got to start the year fresh. We've got to go. So we've got all this energy. And funny enough, I think when I remember it actually, my first ever year, Dawn sat us down when we were young 23-year-old recruiters. And I was starting in September, so I was only about 4 months in. And I said about December, she's like, we're going to do a record month. And I was like, but it's December, like Christmas. We only went for it. And she went, if you have that attitude again. And we ended up smashing it, doing a record month. And I think we did a few record months in your Augusts for the summer and also your Decembers from that. So I think just purely mindset. Of
course it is. There's always business to be made in everything.
Yeah, always.
100%. I totally. And so
we hired people, an experienced recruiter from a competitor. I won't say the name. And then it got to Christmas month and he said, December, he said, what, you work this hard? I'm like, yeah, of course we do. Well, mate, we had our best record months in Christmas for whatever reason. We went, really? We used to treat it like school. We just watched films and things. I'm like, mate, get on the phone. Like,
I'll be honest, we definitely used to take our clients out a lot for lunch. So it'd be like 3 days a week I'd be in a restaurant in the city eating with a client, and then you might have a few beers after. And so it was working hard, but in a different way. But I still had good months. I remember August and December, I usually did all right. I always did all right. I'm not sure the business did that well, but we were January. I don't know. I personally, even now, we did the exact same thing. We started in March, and then we did one full year. Then the second year was 9 months till Christmas, and then we started it from. Me and Ammo, again, it was what we knew, and it's weird, isn't it? Like it fucking feels, because I hated starting in March because within a month it's Easter, and you probably would love that because everyone's slowing down, but to me,
exactly.
I like January, February, March. Everyone's in it. It's clear. You got a runway. Like even dry January this year. We had our biggest month in January because I'm like, I'm sick of the booze. No one's going out. It's head down.
Let's go.
But Q2 starts and it's already a bit of holiday season. So the way you've done it it's just different, right? I do completely empathize with that. So you hire 10 fucking people. At what point? What were you doing it like jobs wise? Because when it's 2 of you, you're both billing. How do you split what you two do at that point?
So what I think we've done, one of the things we've done well is, and you'll hear the way we describe it, is the maturity and our mindset about each layer or the timing of the business, where we were, it's probably half year, I'd say, really changed as the business progressed. because we started in April or March, and then we're 2 years, just over 2 years in now. So it's March to October, and then November to October was our first full year, and that's when we're halfway through our second full financial year now. So the mindset initially, as you know, was to build the war chest, go to war, build. And then the second after that, when we hired our first wave of people, it was basically nurture client relationships. I was more focused on leading from the front. So I was billing, and I was focused on sales quality. So basically quality assuring the processes that the newbies had. And then Elliot was focused on what he's amazing at, which is making sales fun and almost driving like the quantity, and the volume through sales games and just doing what he does best, basically. And then that has now progressed into me kind of sitting on the business, but being focused on sales quality and building the back office infrastructure. And then Elliot is now still doing the same role, but basically like completely heading up anything sales related, except I still do 11:30 to 12:30 every single day. And I do what we call deep dive with one of our consultants at any level, basically focusing on the needs of their individual business at that point.
So what do you mean? What you go and sit with them?
Yeah. So if whatever their point, so the old mantra of CVs, jobs and interviews, right? Like if their jobs are low, we'll go through their BD, work out what their approach is. Where are they strong? Is it a case of improving what they're already good at, or do we need to focus on things they're not doing very well? If they can't find candidates for lots of jobs, it's obviously how they've searched those candidates. If it's none of those, it's probably a call quality issue. So we'll listen to some calls, which is basically getting stuck into the details of the business. And it helps me if I'm sitting on the business at understanding the business, where the needs are, so I can feed it back to Elliot as to what things we need to drive and things like that.
What training do you invest in, or people do you invest in, etc.
Yeah. And then we've also, our academy is now fully running. Like we've established that we've been through 2 waves now, so that's really happy. To be honest, we're really happy with that. That helps that initial classroom period where you're learning about the basics of recruitment. Then you've got that on top of that, you've got your deep dives, usually of me. Elliot's then on top of your processes on a day-to-day basis from like a sales leadership perspective. And now we're at a point now where one of our key things is driving a relatively junior sales management team. We've got this amazing opportunity to scale and drive things. And what we're doing is providing them with as much support as we can, both personally, and we've got external training support that comes in and does like they're on like a 6-month sales leadership course with the 7th wave. I don't even know. Dawn, our old boss, works for them and she's doing it.
Amazing. And you trust her, right? You know what she's like.
Exactly.
So she taught us everything. So
yeah, that's amazing. In terms of, I mean, I've got to mention it. The car story, right? So when you rang me up, and I told it on the podcast, and I was like, I remember that. So the end of year 1, was it? Was it the end of year 1? You did like
our first financial year. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was what, end of March 2021.
The end of October 2021. So,
right. So the first year you rerouted it. Did you not even get a year when you rerouted?
March to November, where it was just obviously grinding it out, COVID period. And then obviously November the 1st was our first last.
So what did you build? What did you build in that first 6-7 months then before you rerouted it?
Not much.
100 grand. Right. I did 80. Lawrence did 20. Yeah. So
yeah. So then you flip it and you go to your Phaidon mindset. It's November. We go till the end of October. How many people did you have at that point?
Like our first financial year, we we hired Bethany.
How many did you have at the end of that year? So the end of the year when you went and bought the cars, how many staff did you have?
Oh, 10.
Yeah.
So you've got to the end of the first full year. Did you hit the million mark? Is that what the target was?
Yeah, 1.1 million. Yeah.
And tell me what went through your head.
We invoiced 900k.
Yeah. So what went through your heads? Because I know you rang me, Lawrence. It was just fucking.
Basically, we obviously we're trying to be conservative business owners. We want to drive a growth strategy, so we need to keep our cash in the business. To
invest everything back in,
Invest everything back in, right? And we've made that commitment to everyone in the business and to ourselves, and we hold each other accountable to that. But we got to the end of our first full financial year. We went to meet the accountant, Paul, and Paul was like, "Look, lads, you really need to spend some money." And we're like, and we looked at Elliot and I looked at each other, and we were like, at the time I downsized, so I've got a big family car, an Audi, but I was driving a crappy old Polo, Volkswagen Polo, like an old one. So all our graduate hires had better cars than me. And then Elliot had like a Peugeot 307. Like, they don't even make it anymore. And like, again, all of our news team had better cars.
The steering wheel was about as big as a bus. Honestly,
yeah, it was pathetic. Really. But we were like, right, we're going to go at this properly. We're going to downsize. We're going to, do the rock stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then Paul was like, you've got to spend some money. So Elliot and I looked at each other and we were like, well, we do really want new cars, Paul. We started talking to our dad about some pocket money. And he went, well, hurry up. You need to go and spend some money. So then within like 2 days, he'd bought an Aston Martin, I'd bought a Porsche. And, we'd gone shopping and we looked at each other and we were like, right, I think we need to slow down and go back to the way we were. And we're like, yeah.
But do you know what, though? When you rang me, the excitement, I've been in your Aston. I've been in Elliot's Aston the other week. I was in the back like this. It was the smallest, but I enjoyed the little drive I went on. It was class. But what I like, it's not about flashing it. It's about rewarding yourself and thinking, you know what, exactly. You took a fucking risk. You walked away from a really safe environment. You got kids, wives without income in a pandemic. You took a fucking risk. You worked your balls off. Why not reward yourself with something that you can, physical asset, you can say, well, let's say it's an asset, it's a liability in a car, but it's still.
Mine's gone up now, so it's still all right. Yeah,
we used cars in some older cars are definitely appreciating at the minute, and all sorts is going on. But you definitely said, well, you know what, that's a statement of what we did last year, and then let's move on.
I think there was two. There was two other influences to it. One of the lads that works was Henry. He about a month or so before, when I think I gave him a lift to get some lunch. Like, I did a lunch one in my Peugeot, and he was like, must admit, I potentially didn't start Arto or take the odd, because when I looked at the two directors' cars, I was like, maybe they're not doing that well. Yeah. So whether he meant that strategically, but that got in our head. And then another risk we took, which we're enjoying massively at the moment, is with our database, so our CRM. So like a lot of people that started with Bullhorn, and then another friend that Lawrence knew just through the industry, Dan Malka. I think you met our review. Yeah, so he set up this new CRM called Hire Genius, and he was like, look, we need a guinea pig. And Lawrence spoke to him, sold it to me, and I was like, look, if you believe in it, I'll back you, right? So we went for it, and we've been working ever since, helping him mold it, things that we like, things that he's amending, still going through these changes now, but it's been awesome. But when just before our meeting with Paul, the accountant, I think they turned up in some nice cars. They came as a mob to start setting it all up, and they come to, and we were like,
they influenced you again.
Yeah, we said, can we just have a drive, just remember what it feels like, and they're like, yeah, sure. Me and I went for a little drive literally around the corner, and we were like, aren't
cars though really, like, they're not tax deductible, are they? They're just a nightmare. No, they don't benefit you, like.
Zero unless you get a Tesla.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm thinking of getting a Tesla, partly for that reason. Not only for that reason, but I'm going to need like a 7-seater the way my life's going. So I'm like,
yay!
I need some
Welcome
big.
To the club.
So have you got a big one as well?
Yeah, Q7, it's a massive giant thing.
Audi Q7.
Yeah.
So you got that, and you got the Porsche. You got the fun
that.
car, right?
Yeah, the fun car and the boring car.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'll even bother with the fun car. I think we'll just at the moment. I've got my Mercedes A-Class, which is not that much fun. But at the time when I got it 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I got it, and I could say, "Hey, Mercedes," and it fucking spoke to me. I thought I was in like. And then Amma got the same car, so we're a bit like you. He's then got. He's just like identical. And then my missus has got she's got a Corsa, right? It's fucking peanut. It's just a Corsa. So we've just bought a house. We're moving in hopefully about 6 months' time. And
really nice.
We don't need two cars because I don't. Sheffield's not a big place. Like, I work from home most of the time. I can walk into town or run into town. So I'm like, we'll just get one car, I think. Just get a Tesla or a
that'll make a big difference for us. When we move to the city in Canterbury, right in the heart, which hopefully should be around October, before our financial year, we want to get in there. That'll make a lot of difference to both us, getting the train up there sometimes, and also to the guys that they all live around that sort of Canterbury hub. So that and obviously being in the city, we can start building a culture, I suppose, where people can just have meetings like outside of the office. Whereas it's great here, and it's huge to like Science Park. But it's just there's nothing around.
Yeah, I went recently, right, to see you. It's area called Sandwich, right? And it's
Sandwich. Yeah,
you got to get a cab from Canterbury. It's like 15-20 minutes, and then
it's not.
Like you say, the complex is mega, but you're out of the way. So you're going into Canterbury City Centre. So let's move to where we're heading, right? So right now, you've gone from that 10, you've got your graduate academies coming in, and you've hit about your mid-20s. You've just commissioned a new office, right? I think you showed me the plans. It's like this beautiful space in Canterbury.
Yeah. So we've got a number of kind of key projects, I'd say, the next 18 months.
Yeah.
We've got our 6th office move back into the heart of Canterbury, which we talked about.
Wow.
So this is probably the first one.
What's that gonna host? Well, how many people can you get in there?
50 basically. It's going to be a gym downstairs.
Is it part of a group like WeWorky type, or is it just a one-off space that you've got?
That's probably the biggest problem, I'd say, about being outside of the major cities, is the office space that's already set up isn't necessarily that good. So you have to invest a lot of cash to do it. And it's all like beautiful listed, like cathedral-esque buildings that aren't open plan. So we've managed to find one. We're basically going to make it the best office space there.
Yeah.
And that works with our brand of becoming. We're really, really passionate about, because obviously we commuted for 4 hours a day, right? That's a lot of time. It's a heck of a lot of time. So we are passionate about providing opportunities outside of the typical spots like the City of London, like a Canterbury, where there's 2 major universities, like Kent Uni is one of the top unis. There's a whole talent pool there that is untapped. And we found actually that the quality of the people that we're bringing into the business is brilliant. And there's no competition, whereas there's a bum fight in the city where I remember with Phaidon, we were always like competing with the same graduates, not even experienced hires. So, and we're probably the only company I can think of providing like proper sales jobs where you can earn 6 figures. If Elliot or I had that opportunity when we first joined recruitment or anything like that, we would have jumped at it. Yeah. So it's about really, really quite passionate about providing that platform. Then we've got the USA moves. We've ring-fenced our USA team, and Elliot goes to the US next year in May, June time, and probably Miami. So that's a big project for us.
So you're going to take the family, you said, and a couple of the team, and you're going to set up an actual office there.
Yeah.
And how are you going to feel when you don't see each other every day?
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing.
You've never done it, have you? You've never done it.
It's gonna be weird and interesting. Yeah.
But I lived with Amma and saw him every day pretty much for however many years, and then pandemic hit, and now it's all Zoom based, and it hasn't made a fucking bit of difference, right? I miss him sometimes. I miss the team, and you miss that face to face, but you chat every day, you meet up as often as you can, you still have the same journey. I mean, when you're business partners, you're in each other's WhatsApps every 5 minutes anyway. So it won't, but that's fucking well exciting. So how do you feel about, is that a long-term play, Elliot, or do you want to get it, like, incubate it, get it up and come back? What's the vision for you?
My personal vision is to get Miami, sort the project out, be there a year, 18 months with one of the guys that's going to head it up, to support them, manage them. And then when they're ready, go. Then it'd be great if we can maybe set up another office in maybe Boston or the West Coast. So get that full experience and then go over there. Whether my wife would be in America that long is the other question. So we just got to see how she feels. She's never lived outside of the UK. I've always wanted to, had a few opportunities at Phaidon previously, come home. Hey, New York? No. San Francisco? No. Boston? No. So now she's up for it. She's looking forward to it. So we just have to see how it goes. If I have to come back, we'll come back. If she's happy to stay out there and move to somewhere else in America, then great. So you just have to play it by ear, really, I think.
Amazing. What else is going on? So you got the office move, you in the UK, you got the American move. What else are you doing?
We're going to start the contracts business in November, so the start of the next financial year.
Have you not done any contract business yet?
With like the occasional contractor, they're just kind of the existing client can't hire them per, and they need to roll them as a contractor.
Wow! So your whole background as you're both contract, right?
Yeah.
Are you excited about bringing that back then?
Well, I'm buzzing. Can't wait to start it. Yeah, I'll be starting it in November with 1 or 2 of the guys we've hired here to get it going. So it's just why we're heavily investing in our leadership now to support the perm guys in their subdivisions, whilst I then go.
Do you know the contract market is there in the markets you operate?
Definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you need. Like it's already waiting for you. You just got to go and get it.
Well, it's funny because I was always told. So one of the lead investors of the CRM is Gary Eldon. So we managed to get him to come down and kind of give us like a like a day, like a business strategy day. And he was like, what, you guys do Europe contracts? You're doing perm? He's like, you're mad. He was like, all recruitment companies are always trying to find
always doing the opposite way
that
around.
do contract in Europe, and you're doing their opposite. And we were like, exactly, that's the one thing we know how to set up. So let's do the one that everyone...
You've done the hard bit first. You've, like you say, you've protected, you've not burnt any bridges with Phaidon. And then when it's ready, when you're ready, you can do it. So, wow, that's exciting, isn't it? That is mega exciting.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's been great the last couple of years, and then I just enjoy bringing people. So to get back on the phones and leave that kind of stuff, I just can't wait. Speak to some contractors again, like just show them because obviously these guys never seen it, so they don't know the speed at which contracts work. Yeah. So it's probably gonna be mind blowing for them. I think one thing we probably take maybe one Phaidon maybe didn't they maybe want to, and also we tried really hard to be cohesive, but it just never really clicked. It was contracts like its own entity in there really. Yeah. But it's got stronger since like when I was catch up with the guys. So that's one thing we're going to take from that in educating the perm guys immediately before we're setting up, to start asking the questions. How can they get cross sales to the contracts team? How can they help it build quicker? Work together as a unit. So that's going to be a lot. One thing we'll be focusing on massively when we start it.
And I think the key to that is culturally, for whatever reason, most companies, including our last one, they sometimes struggle to bridge that gap and get them asking certain questions on each other's behalf. So from the day one, we're going to be really driving that, leading from the front, and building that kind of collaborative environment where we do help each other. Because what it's like by that person asking 2 questions, he can set up a call for this person.
Well, the way we did it, the way we used to do it is very different. So I was all London meeting based. So where your office was where my clients were. The insurance market is on Grace Station. So me and Anthony Webster, the guy who was going to set up, he was on my show the other week. We would typically go and meet everyone together. So it'd be like, I'm contract, he's perm. And we behind us had these teams. So it was like we went in as a pair, and we presented as a company that was both. And we did the same role disciplines, but perm and contract. So the client was like, these guys have got it.
That's great.
Obviously on the phone, but we didn't rely on the phone. It wasn't. Whereas you guys, I don't know if do you meet many clients like where you're based? It must be difficult. You might have the odd trip, but it must be heavily phone based. So you've really got to develop those skills on every call, right?
Yeah. Heavily phone based, and obviously now with you guys, I think like a lot of people now introducing the Hoxo brand awareness and building a brand to try and generate income. It is definitely paying off dividends already with a couple of jobs.
Because you mentioned there was a client. What happened? One of your clients had a US rep comment on a post or something. What happened?
Yeah, Daniela. She's in her 3rd week at Hoxo.
Yeah,
which I'm of course as well with, and she just put a post about her journey so far at Arto. Going from university, joining a company, loving the culture, etc. And obviously where she's been connecting and doing the 2010-5. An executive director of a big pharma company in America just commented and saying, "Look, great story. Hear about you in your niche." I think 2 other people have said, "Oh, I've been recommended or I've seen your posts." So she's obviously doing something well there, which we're trying to look at and why she's getting these responses. But yeah, definitely, I think we're trying to adapt to this new way.
The key is then it's what do you do with that comment, right? So it's opening the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what's happened since. We've got a meeting with them next week.
Amazing.
So it's nice. Obviously, Lawrence and I are old school, so we're all phones. So it's education for us as well. Which since starting this, we've loved it, learning from loads of people, and the support we've had from other people that we built relationships that left Phaidon or in Phaidon still. Like we didn't realise that was such a big community. So it's been nice.
You don't realise. Like, look at our relationship. Lawrence and I, probably 5 years, probably rang a couple of times a year. But I know that my brand on LinkedIn always kept me on your radar. If I didn't post, we might have drifted apart. But because I was always popping up with stuff and adding value, and you would be like, "Sean, I love that." You text me going, "That podcast was wicked," or you comment on something. But there was always like, it always kept the relationship.
It's true.
And it's fucking well out. Like, I remember the more senior I got in recruitment, the harder I found contacting people because I'm
like that now.
By nature, you're very internal in what you're doing. So all these relationships you build get given to younger people. You're then focusing internally, and all that knowledge you've got and brand and contacts on LinkedIn are just being wasted. Whereas if you can spend 15 minutes a day to just be present on there, get on with the rest of your day, but the market's hearing about you. And even since we've started with Arto, and I'm not just saying it because it's, you know, you're working with us, but there's a buzz about you on LinkedIn. Like there's a momentum building. I feel like every time I see your content, it's exciting what you're doing, and you know, I can't wait to see what you guys can achieve. So my final question is, where do you see this journey? Like, what's the big picture, long term plan? Are you grand exits, sitting on a board? What do you want to do?
I'd say the vision, if you like, is probably broken up into several things. But the vision for the next 18 months is double or die, double everything basically, double headcount, double NFI, double EBIT. But I mean, the vision is definitely some kind of an event. Yeah. So whether that is a PE sale or a MBA or whatever, that could be anything. But I think from our research and the people that we've met and our understanding of what Phaidon went through, I think we need to get to around 5 million EBIT. So I think at that point, then you've got, you know, people queuing up to look at your business. And to how we get there and the strategy, I think you can only take it 2 to 3 years at a time. Otherwise, you can get kind of enthralled in the nitty gritty of a specific plan. But the market changes in 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
You know, contracts might fly, right? And we have to build behind strength. So, but we want to become synonymous in Kent and Canterbury. We're becoming the place to work if you want to go and earn loads of money and have a great career and go and travel to, you know, Miami or build a career in Cologne in Germany or go to the West Coast. But that's a real thing for us to provide that opportunity locally. We want to have like an international life sciences recruitment company, mid to very senior level, where we make a number of people through an EMI scheme internally within the business, kind of millionaires or you know, wealthy individuals. So that's where our hearts are. That's going to make us fulfilled. You know, but whether it's 5 years or 7 years,
you don't have a time frame on it. Do you not think?
I'd say 5 to 7 years from now is kind of what we've always said. That's our aim.
What would you do after though? Would you stay on? Would you want to be a chairman and stay in it, or would you want to do something else? Like, because Elliot, I just can't imagine you like being at home with kids and I can't see it. Like you're too busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's driving
around.
I've got one now, a little Theodore, and I've got one on the way. So it'll be like 14 months apart. So I'm pretty sure it's gonna be quite hectic. And then we're going to Miami. Yeah, I can't sit still. I'm shaking now. I can't sit still. So I think I get it from my parents. Like my mum, she's 70, and last week my dad rang me and said, "Mum, your mum's been hit by a car." I was like, "Oh no, like is it bad?" She went, "No, it was only a slight knock, but she knocked over. She bruised her legs." I was like, "Where is she?" She's at work. What do you mean she's at work? Well, she just got up, she brushed herself off, and went to the car, got her lunch, and then went to work. So then, where are you now? I'm at work, trying to tell your mum to leave work because she's got a bruise on her eye and bruised legs. Mum, go home. No, I've got to help the team. I've got to work. So I think this is where I get it from.
Yeah.
So because no one excuses now if they're a bit ill, it's not coming.
What does your mum do?
She's a legal secretary for solicitors.
Right.
So, but yeah, I think the other
people
part
the team depend on her, right? If she's in that legal secretary, there'll be solicitors depending on her. So she's
tried to fire in, and she just can't. She's, I think.
What about your dad? Is he retired?
No, sort of. Yeah, he owns children's homes. So. Yeah, it'd be nice. I've helped him in the past with just like someone didn't turn up for a shift, and that was quite interesting. But no, I think I don't know what future holds. I'd love to travel Europe. I'd love to just take my family and travel Europe. Right? But who knows? We've just got to keep playing day by day. I think your other thing, Lawrence, to put on is just the organic side. Like we want everyone, like Phaidon did in a way, which we enjoyed, is from everyone at the HQ here. They're the ones going up in the offices, which opportunities they will not get around our local area. So,
yeah. It's amazing.
It's like we've got
what
Charlie.
Go on.
Well, Charlie, who works for us, is going to be heading up the USA, or is heading up the US team. He's going from Minster to Miami, which is like, I don't know if anyone knows Minster, but it's like a tiny village.
Little village near you. Yeah,
I mean,
I met him, and he's a young lad, and he's fucking well up for it, and you can see he's going to do well, I'm sure. But what you guys have created in the period of time is pretty impressive, boys. I mean, I interview a lot of people. I meet a lot of recruitment companies. You guys are you're in a very specific field, in my opinion, of ones to watch. Because there's not many that get to the size you are in the time with the numbers. But it's not, the thing about you guys is I feel like it's the complete package. Like you're not You're not too old school. You're turning away the thought of new technology or ways of working, but you're not. But you've got that ingrained like hard work ethic. Get on the phone as well. You've got the kind of new and the old. You can both turn your hand to billing, but you're actually building teams. So a lot of what stops recruiters growing is the owners are too precious about their own billings, and everyone becomes resources and PAs, but it's really is about them. Whereas you guys are actually, it's all about the people. You've got the right structure around you. You've got advisors, you've got support. You're in a great location where you've identified both market and geographies seem to fit. So, yeah, I mean, I hope you enjoy the journey, because that's the only thing I worry about with fast growth. When you're fast growth, you can sometimes forget to enjoy the day and the month and the week, and you're just so fixed on the next thing. You boys, you've done fucking wicked so far. So well done. It's amazing. And you're going to inspire people. This show will inspire more people than you realize. If anyone did want to reach out, if anyone's sat thinking that, I've even got one today. He's just messaged me going, Sean, do you know anyone who's started a business in a niche they didn't work before? And I was like, well, I think I do. I'm just going to wait till this episode and I'll introduce you. I'm pretty sure they did. So that's one already who's going to want to reach out and just ask some questions. Are you open to that? I know you're busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
If people are like, look, your story's compelling, can you help? Or just give me 15 minutes.
We did the same with Alex Elliot. So Alex Elliot, who was on one of your first podcasts, he came back to us and actually gave us some of his time. So, just to kind of bounce off when we first set up.
We're meeting remember Alessandro Mantel?
Yeah.
Meeting him, I think, next week when we nip to London for a day.
The back of your podcast for a coffee.
So, Alessandro and you, Elliot, they're very similar characters. I think it could go one or two ways. You're either going to love or hate. So you're either going to combust when you meet and be like, fucking hell, he's got more
energy. An hour of arm wrestling.
Yeah. He's
a star is forming. The atoms are bouncing.
Honestly, he's a ball of energy, that guy. But say hello. I like him. I've got a lot of time for good old Alessandro.
We appreciate all the support we've had. So, and we know. I think why we've stayed in touch with yourself in this sort of, I don't know, maybe since the rag, there's like this little pocket of people that started in since say 2019, just around the COVID area, and so I think there's just a lot of appreciation for how hard it's been, both personally with looking at like the balance of family, trying to run a business, and like all this kind of weird, wonderful world we've been living in the last couple of years. I think this little cohort of businesses, and it's still in there really because it's still around. So anyone that wants to reach out, I'd love to support them and give them any nugget of advice that might help them really.
That is genuinely what I want to do, is bring this industry closer. Like it's so, like you say, it's done so much for so many people. And if we're all sat siloed going through the same shit, what's the point? We might as well bring it closer. Yeah. So that's the vision. Final question then, actually, I've not mentioned it. Like, you are young parents. Elliot, I mean, Lawrence, you got 3 kids, which is
under 5.
3 under 5, yeah.
Genuinely, like, I'll ask you first. How do you balance your life with being a good husband, good father, good partner to Elliot, good team leader or manager, owner, and hobbies, go to the gym, stay fit, read things, whatever? Like, do you feel like you're getting it right? How do you manage it?
I don't think you ever feel like you're fully getting it right, but I feel like for whatever, if you've got like friends, family, work, as like and health and well-being and fitness as like your 4 kind of things. That's what I've always felt. I mean, the downside is I think my friend's pillar, if you like, is probably, it's not burning as brightly as it probably once did. Yeah, but that can come back, right? So that's the sacrifice.
They should always be there if they're friends, right? That's what you can.
Oh yeah, and they are. We still catch up once every single. But then, but I'd say my family and my work take priority. We go to the gym every lunchtime. There's a gym downstairs, so we go to the gym at lunchtime. We give an extra half hour to people that want to focus on their fitness and well-being at lunch, so they can get showered and stuff like that. So that check ticks that box. I know Elliot plays football at the weekends, but I mean, probably the weirdest one for a recruiter starting in business is Elliot and I had to acclimatise to be finishing at 6 every day, which is weird for me as well as Elliot, because I've always been like probably the hardest worker, like in terms of working hours. So, but that was needed and necessary to get home and help my wife put the kids to bed and clean up after dinner and stuff. So I have to be more productive in the day, which is easier when you have less things to do. But now my role is more dynamic. It does become harder. So you have to really work on time management. And that's the key. And then when you go home, just be in the moment with the kids. So Elliot makes a joke sometimes. He's like, he'll be with people at 7 p.m. and they'll be like, oh, should we call Lawrence? And he'll say, no, you don't understand. When Lawrence is at home, he's at home. He doesn't pick up the phone. But when I'm at work, my wife would say the same thing about me at work. So it's just kind of being in that moment.
You find that like you might wait till 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. You know the kids are in bed. You might then send each other a WhatsApp or whatever.
Well, what we do is 6 till 9 is like family time, and then if I'm going to work late, I then work 9 till 1. That's been our thing.
We did last night. Yeah, last night. Well, we're up at 12:30. What were we watching last night? Was it Bridget Jones? I think Diary.
Sorry, random. I'm usually Lord of the Rings or something.
To come in, and like the guys are stretched as it is, so we were like, right, we'll help. So we just texted, so should we have a late one? So there we are, 12:30. I think we both switched off then, but we were mapping out from about 11 o'clock. Otherwise, we're in bed. So
by mapping out, we mean like headhunting, or doing. I've been doing some business strategy stuff that I've got to write up, or there's just stuff that you just don't get done because of the reactive nature sometimes of helping and nurturing people through the jobs. Because we're nurturing the leaders and we want to make them as good at leading as possible in the shortest amount of time. So we're kind of, I relate it to like NOS in a car, right? You hit the NOS button on Fast and Furious, and all of a sudden it goes really fast for a short period of time. So we're kind of hitting the NOS on their development as leaders or their development as billers or developers leading from the front and just helping them upskill in that area whilst building that back office infrastructure at the same time.
It's mad though, like the commitment to go to bed that late and work at night, and not many people have that. What time do you wake up normally?
I get up at 5 every day, 7 days a week. I'm weird. We are. Anyone that you ever want to, if you interview people that have worked for us in the future, maybe set up businesses, or ask anyone that works on our team, we are weird. Like we don't like to say it, but it's what everyone tells us. But
we're just full of energy, basically.
Yeah, I get up at 5 a.m. every single day. I have PT in 6. Gym opens at 6, 3 days a week. So I see little man in the mornings probably once, sometimes twice a week. And then my lights turned off. And then and then I go to bed. Trying to read a lot more, so I might go to bed after. At the moment, Love Island with my wife.
Yeah, of course.
So I might be up at 10:30, or like I said, sometimes maybe 3 times a week, I'll just do like some work trying to help the guys find candidates, and then just sort of try and send them.
Can you operate? If you're in bed at 1:30, you can get up at 5 and operate.
3 times a week. I can't do more than that.
I'm shit.
More than that affects my.
Yeah, I'm not good enough. I can't do. I'd struggle with that.
Get up at 5, dog for a walk. I'm trying to. You actually inspired me a little bit with the running. So I've told myself the next month, so 4 weeks, I've got Peloton. And when my wife's pregnant, she's not using it. Yeah. And I was in my room. I was like, bless it, it's not getting used. So I said, every day I'm going to use it until my birthday, which is 11th of July. So I'm 2.5 weeks in. So I get up at 5, do a Peloton now, like 20 minutes hit or whatever, take my dog for a walk, then go to my PT at 6. Then I'm at work for like 7:30, and we're ready to go, Sean. Let's go.
Yeah. And then you're knackered at 12 o'clock in the day, and you fall asleep. You burn all your energy before 7. I've just done today. I'm going for a run after this. My day. This will be 170 days of running. 178.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
it's amazing.
So, my knees yesterday though, because on Monday I woke up early, went to the gym, got back, family time, work, lunchtime, went for a run. Dropped something off at my missus' salon, came back, work, kids, 6 o'clock, stepson's waiting with his football kit on, took him out to the park, played football for an hour, got back, dropped him off at gymnastics where his sister's at. Lauren picks him up. Then I'm off to this. I've just joined this thing called Head in the Game, which my mate Keith's running. And it's a charity where it gets men together in different cities and plays football, but talks. And it's all about mental health and actually opening up. Nice. This was week 3. Yeah, I'm loving it. So that was 8 till 9. Football, the weather was lovely, and then back at 9, watched Love Island a bit later, and then in bed. And then yesterday I woke up and my knees were just in agony. I was like, and I ran a 24k on Saturday for this round Sheffield thing. So my exercise has been insane recently. And yesterday I had to have a break, and I hate it. Like I'm like, can't not do something. I said to myself, no, have a break, and I feel better today. So I'm going out for a run in a minute.
When did you?
You're like recruitment's very own Forrest Gump.
Yeah. Try it.
When did you decide to? The big question here, Sean, is when did you bring the quiff back? Right?
That was
questionable.
It's a big question. So I've gradually been growing it and cutting it, and then it was, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago. I went to the barbers and I just thought, leave the top. And then I'm not growing it as it was, where it was really big and long. I can't be asked with that anymore.
Way.
But yeah, it just falls like this. How my hair grows. So
as soon as
you wake up back, people were like, no, seriously, like you can see how aggressive it grows here. So if I try and go the other way, my hair won't work. Like it just fucking hates it. So it really does go like this without doing much. Because it just grows like that in the top. So yeah, it's back, and I'm quite happy to have it back. And I'm off away this weekend, going to Ibiza. Then next week I've got a Turkey end of July. Sorry, I've got 2 trips in July. I'm excited about. Life's good.
Enjoy.
I'm trying to enjoy every. I've got a Aria. Introduce you to Aria. I don't know if you.
Yeah, I mean, first appointment in a few weeks.
Go on. Well, he said to me last night. He goes, "What I love about you, Sean, is you squeeze every bit of juice out of life. Like you literally, like at the moment, I'm buying a house, selling a house. You know, I'm trying to do everything that you can possibly do, and I'm squeezing out of every day. And it sounds like you boys aren't too dissimilar. I think that we, as founders, we probably all have a bit of that, where we're trying to spin as many places as we can and enjoy it along the way. Well, guys, we've been an hour and 15 minutes, which is a long one. So I'm going to have to call it a day, but thank you so much. I do hope people reach out. LinkedIn is the platform. We'll tag you on everything. I want you back on again for part 2 in about a year's time. Maybe when you're in Miami, we'll do it globally.
Great.
You can be sat there in your underpants in the sun. And and guys, just thanks for giving us the time, and best of luck for the next year. Okay.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you.
Thank you, as always, for listening to today's show. I truly, truly hope that you got value from it. That's the only reason I take time every week, is to ensure that my audience, future and existing recruitment owners, are learning from each other to make this industry that I love so much stronger. Today's episode was brought to you by Hoxo Media. I am the CEO and founder of Hoxo Media, and we are the world's leading content marketing and personal branding agency for recruitment businesses specifically. So we are working with over 200 agencies and 2,000 recruiters right now, both managing the brands, producing content, building written, video, podcast content for niche recruitment agencies all over the world, as well as coaching at a desk level individual recruiters in your businesses how to be better on LinkedIn. That's how to brand themselves. That's how to produce content. That's how to use the opportunity on LinkedIn to get traffic to their profiles and turn that into business. We're coaching people all over the world every single day. If any of that sounds of interest, please do visit www.hoxomedia.com or drop me, Sean Anderson, a personal message on LinkedIn. I would love to talk to you. Tune in again next week on LinkedIn. I'll see you soon.